Hi everyone, thank you for joining me live. Thank you David for joining me live. Thank you for everyone who will be watching on the replay. And if it's the first time that we're meeting, introduction first. So my name is Isabel from healthynaturallife.com, and I work with energy, healing, clearing, integration, animal communication, all things consciousness. Anything that helps us understand our true selves, our energetic selves better, and how we interact with the world. That's my passion, that's my jam, that's what I do love to share on this channel. And today this week, I felt inspired to share this particular topic on feeling, how we can actually feel safe in the middle of what now has been almost like a catchphrase. These are uncertain times. That just makes me laugh, almost like, what times are certain? There are no certain times. There's no such thing. So these are uncertain times, as every time has always been and will continue to be, until we get to that place of such mastery that we have all timelines, all possibilities in our conscious awareness, and we can make the choices and create deliberately from that state of being. Since, well, most of us, let's just put it like that, are not at that stage yet, everything around us will always be uncertain because we don't have the bigger picture, we don't have the potential reactions from other people, from events, from even cosmic influences. It's just not in our control. And that's what I wanted to share today, because this week has been intense. Let's just put it like that. In my personal experience, and from what I hear from people close to me, same thing. They have been experiencing a lot of the uncertainty, the fear, the powerlessness that we, pretty much all of us, experienced as children, that caused us to feel unsafe in the world that we live in, and caused us to have certain default mechanisms to react as best we could at the time to those feelings of unsafety. So trying to get control over our environment or over ourselves in order to soothe that feeling of powerlessness and not being safe. All of those things are coming to the surface, and we have an opportunity now as a global humanity and a template of this powerlessness and unsafe energy. We have an opportunity now to either continue on the reaction patterns that we learned when we were young, things that worked for us, or we have the opportunity now to just be deliberate, make a different choice, and actually allow those feelings themselves to start integrating. And this is something that was triggered not just by my experience this week, but there was something that I heard from a speaker. I think her name was Kira Saunders, from an embodiment conference that I was attending a few weeks ago. And she said that people, paraphrasing here, people don't know how to feel safe being out of control. That stuck with me. From anything else that she said, that stuck with me. People don't know how to feel safe being out of control. I was thinking, that's pretty much the cause for all of our soothing behaviors, all of our addictions. My particular experience with OCD was because of exactly that, feeling out of control and not feeling safe. And this points all the way back into our childhood years, even younger than that, toddlers, even as babies. But as babies, we don't create those mechanisms. So as we're growing, toddlers, children, the feeling that the world around us was not providing with our needs the way that we needed our needs to be met, and we had absolutely, at the time, we felt no power to change that. We felt powerless, we felt unsafe because our needs weren't being met the way that we needed them to be. And that started creating the unsafe, and then started creating our soothing mechanisms. And there's another quote, I don't remember exactly where I read it, but it goes along the lines of this: there is no greater tyranny than the tyranny of a first solution. So, and this is fascinating, there is no greater tyranny than the tyranny of us finding a first solution. So these, by definition, first solutions are the solutions that we found in our younger years. So whatever we were feeling that made us feel, whatever we were experiencing that made us feel unsafe, that made us feel uncomfortable, we found something at the time. Our young nervous system, still not completely formed, still growing, still learning, still absorbing everything, found a solution that made it feel safer, that made it go from the red, unsafe danger zone to a more calm, soothed, comfortable state. And that solution might have been something as simple, and for most of us, this happened as reaching for someone outside of us to get love when we were scared by something. Let's say that something like a balloon, a very innocent example, blew up right beside us. We were scared, we reached for mama. And mommy was right there and we felt safe. So right then and there, we created something that may seem very normal, very natural, but that was a first solution, was reach out for someone's support and someone's more coherent nervous system in order to help soothe our own. Nothing wrong with it. It is a strategy, it is a solution, but it is something that trained us right then and there to start feeling that we needed something or someone outside of us in order to get back into balance. And at the time we did need that because we didn't have the developed nervous system that could actually understand and harmonize after something like that. So we did need that, but it's a solution that after it happens the first time, it becomes like a little new pathway on our brain that goes, ooh, this worked. Okay, next time that we feel scared about something else, we might consciously, deliberately reach for mommy or daddy or someone else in the same way and feel again, okay, this worked again. Third time, fourth time, fifth time, it moves from being a conscious decision to then becoming a reaction, so it becomes automatic and then even goes underneath our conscious awareness, and it just becomes a default pattern that we don't even notice. And this one is on the more innocent side of things. Many of us might have reached for substances, and when we are young, substances usually implies sugar because if our own parents train us so that you're feeling sad, you're feeling this way, oh, here is a bit of cake, or here's a little bit of chocolate. And that, to our nervous system, the sugar creates that feeling of relaxation, of a high, brings up our mood, and it becomes again a solution. As we move through our growing up process, these things can become, instead of just soothing solutions that helped us, they can actually become habits. For instance, OCD comes to my mind because I've experienced for so long and so intensely. And it was a feeling that whenever I felt unsafe, I could go for certain types of behaviors that would make me feel safe. And even just the simplest behaviors that came even before OCD already showed tendencies towards that, was that when I was feeling uncomfortable, I liked to count things. I would just go to a window, count the number of cars passing on the street. And this felt weird when I was younger, but it makes actually a lot of sense because it was bringing me from a state of being completely lost in whatever was coming up for me. And so being immersed in emotions and sensations that I couldn't handle, I didn't know what was causing them, to bringing my awareness to my prefrontal cortex by counting. And that just made me feel more present, made me feel more grounded, made me feel more in control. So again, solutions. All of these, there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with them when they are deliberate choices for solutions. The problem is that they start becoming unconscious. They start becoming reactions, so something for us to actually avoid what's happening instead of solving it. And depending on what the soothing mechanism is, they can become addictions because it is a solution for a feeling of discomfort. That's how sugar addiction comes up. That's how alcohol addiction comes up. That's how sex, shopping, drug, any type of addiction comes up from that. It was a solution that worked before, and we started practicing again and again. So every time now that we have the internal trigger of I'm not feeling safe, we reach automatically for the solution. So that's a lovely just catchphrase reminder that there's no greater tyranny than a tyranny of a first solution that we find for something. Oh, hi Benny, thank you for joining me live. Lovely to see you here too. So that's how we go into these types of behaviors. There's so much to say about this that I'm just going to share my experience. And this past week, there has been a lot coming up. And because I do have greater tools now, so tools that have upgraded from my childhood and adolescent mechanisms of the reaching out for something, for someone, or for mental behaviors like OCD, those were strategies that worked to a degree before, don't really do much for me now for the largest part of things that come up. But there has been a growing, a maturing of a different type of solution, and it is to turn into my internal resources, into specifically what I have shared here about tuning into or being aware of our inner stillness, the inner stillness in our body, the inner silence in our heads, in our speech, or even in our environment, because even if our heads keep on talking, we can still listen to the silence underneath that talking, because if there wasn't silence there, we couldn't even hear anything internally or externally. And we can also listen to the silence outside. If it's silent where you are, you can tune into that. Or if there is noise, you can actually bring your awareness to the silence that's underneath the noises. So there's the stillness inside the body. You can always tune into that. There is that silence that we can also listen to or be aware of. And there is the spaciousness. Spaciousness in everywhere, in spaces around us, inside of us. So matter is what we consider matter, 99.999999% space. So the fact that we perceive something as solid, it is an illusion from our physical senses. And everything that we see is pretty much mostly space. And I've shared this in the Living from Inner Stillness, Silence and Spaciousness video. The way that I like to tune into these things is to really just focus internally and just imagine just complete empty space, almost like the dark vastness of outer space. For me, that's what works best. For you, it might just be filled with spaciousness and light. For me, what works when I tune inside and to tune into the spaciousness specifically is to just imagine everything like a complete black, dark outer space, not empty, filled with potential, filled with life force, but just pure space. There is nothing concrete material. They're just pure, empty, vast space. And when we are tuning into either of these, either our internal stillness, the stillness that's always in our body, or internal silence, or external, and the spaciousness, again, inside and out, what we are doing is that we're tuning into our broader mind. So we have our conscious mind, our rational mind, the mind that we're thinking with, the mind that we usually are aware of, and we have our broader selves. So it's not just the mind, so we have our soul over soul. We've talked about this before. This is all part of our light body, and it is part of our broader, deeper mind. So it's almost the mind, and when I say mind here, it's not thinking mind, it's perception, experience, existence type of mind. It is the broader, deeper mind that's almost the background to everything that we perceive here in this 3D incarnation focus that we are having, this experience that we're having here. And for me, this is the space and the state of being that I can now tune into when these feelings of unsafety, these feelings of being out of control, things that would before make me run for the soothing mechanisms, whatever that might be. And as adults, usually for me, the soothing mechanism of choice was either I need sugar, I need YouTube, so distraction, or something that would just still be on the lines of OCD, but not as strong. So a type of mental control of the situation or understanding, rationalization to make me feel safe. Nowadays, and especially what I've been playing with and discovering for these past 2 weeks, because a lot of stuff has been coming up for all of us, and the old coping or soothing mechanisms weren't doing it for me. I was feeling, again, my energy start to be roused, and me starting to go into the, traditional soothing working strategies that don't work anymore. When I did start playing with, really truly, whenever I felt my body start to close up, tense up with anxiety, I would tune into the stillness of my body. And I still do this. If I'm feeling something that is contracting in my body, it is because of whatever is happening. Either, for instance, in the building that I live, either someone is just angry and I'm feeling that energy and it's kind of touching in some points that make me feel unsafe, and my body starts going into the contraction protection mechanism because it's triggering the don't feel safe. When I notice it, I know that it's my body that's feeling the fear. I tune into the direct solution for the body issues, which is the stillness. I focus inside and just notice, okay, even if there is contraction, even if there is pain, even if there is a feeling of discomfort, there's still always stillness. Even in that part where I'm feeling the contraction, where I'm feeling the tension, even if my hand is like this, I can still feel the stillness of the tissues, of the cells, of the muscles. Even in the contraction, I can still tune into the stillness. And when I do feel into the stillness, the tension starts completely melting. And it's something that it's a really good gauge to see where I'm in my head trying to imagine stillness, or if I'm really in my body, bringing my awareness to that area where I'm feeling the discomfort and just tuning in, not trying to create stillness because there's nothing to create, it's already there, but just, okay, almost shifting my dial to, let me just tune into the stillness that's already there. And when I do, it almost immediately starts loosening, releasing, and the energy starts flowing again. And this has been so powerful for me. I still have a lot of tension built in from all the years of just emotional, mental, physical, contraction, tension, trauma, OCD, all of those things. There's still a lot. Everything that we're holding in patterns of tension in our body is part of the memories that we haven't processed from the past, part of our ego structure, the things that don't really allow us to be fully free and full in our expression anymore. So this, it's part of the Dzogchen tradition. They call these the inner refuge. So inner stillness is the medicine for whatever comes up in the body. So whenever I feel tension, whenever I feel the contraction, the physical sensations of fear, of not being in control, of projecting something, I bring my attention back to the body, focus on the inner stillness, sometimes in a place that's easy, but most of the times now I actually like to play with, just go straight to the area where I'm feeling the tension and just tune in to feel the stillness there. And oh my God, it just feels so good to have this type of an internal shift in focus that can almost immediately give my body a sense of relief, like I'm safe. Okay, so it immediately starts releasing and I start coming back into flow again. Listening to the internal silence is what in the Dzogchen tradition they use as the medicine for the pain speech. So when we're talking to ourselves negatively, if we can start listening to the silence, even in between the thoughts that are popping up, just start listening for the silence in between the words, start listening to the silence even underneath the words, that will start also dissolving, because we are taking our awareness from the content, the words, and we're putting our awareness in the context, in the broader mind, in the silence that's always there as well. So it starts dissolving the pain speech. And then we have the spaciousness, and this is for our negative imagination. So when our mind starts running away from us and starts creating scenarios of doomsday in the future, or remembering something from the past and bringing it to the present and even projecting it towards the future, that's when we start spiraling out of control. We're in the past or we're in the future, and that's when we actually feel unsafe, because there's nothing we can do about the past, there's nothing we can do about the future, and we're out of the present moment, which is the only one where we do have power to actually do something, not necessarily externally, but to be present, to be in our power, because our power is never in the past, is never in the future. We never live in the past, we never live in the future. We're always in the here and now, even if we're remembering something from the past or projecting something towards the future. So when we are in time, past or future, that's when we get completely lost. That's when we go into, I'm not feeling safe, I'm not in control. Of course, we can't control either one of those. And there's uncertainty. There will always be uncertainty. Moving, projecting towards the future, that's what takes us out of the present moment and our only moment of power. And for this, any of these focuses, stillness, silence, spaciousness, it's just perfect, because it forces us to be present in the here and now, besides being present on the broader context of who we are, our broader mind, instead of the content of the stories that might come up for us, or just the sensations that might be coming up, that we might be feeling that are uncomfortable. They're still the content. It's not who we are. It's just an experience of something that's flowing through us. If we stay and bring our awareness to the broader context, that's what our body will feel. And it will feel the context of our broader mind. Broader mind is eternal, changeless, always safe, always has all the solutions, all the resources that we will ever need. So when we start bringing our focus more and more to that context, our broader selves, through inner stillness, or focusing, not so much focusing, but being aware of our inner stillness in the body, being aware of the inner silence in our internal speech, being aware of the inner spaciousness or outer spaciousness of our broader mind, that's when we start feeling, okay, I have the tools. Whenever I am feeling something uncomfortable, whenever something makes me feel unsafe, whenever someone says something to me or does something that triggers my discomfort in whatever degree, I can tune into these three Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche calls them 3 pills. It's the pill of stillness to help the body as medicine, to help the body just come back into relaxation, into flow, the pill of the internal silence to help the pain speech, so the mental chatter, soothe, calm down again, and to the pill of spaciousness to help the mind, the imagination, the creativity that our minds have come into just a feeling of spaciousness, really, of I don't know how to put this in words, but instead of it being focused in time, it just comes back to the here and now, to the presence, to the consciousness of I just am, and I am in flow with all of life. So there is an inbuilt sense of everything is okay, everything is safe, everything is all right, even if the sensations and the emotions that come up are intense. For instance, a couple of days ago, as I was going to bed, it had been an eventful day in terms of integration, but as I was going to bed and starting to fall asleep, a really deep sense of fear started coming up. And it wasn't something that needed a story. I couldn't find a story, and I didn't look for one either. But it was a really deep and intense sense of fear. And I was feeling myself start to go into, I need to close or protect or go into whatever mechanism would help me feel safe and soothe that internal, really strong discomfort of the fear. But because I had been in integration pretty much the entire day, it just crossed my mind again. I had that moment of awareness. Let me just focus on the spaciousness. It wasn't so much the physical sensations that I was feeling. It felt almost like I don't even know how to describe it. But it just felt that for me at that moment, I could have focused on the stillness, and I think I did to a degree on the sensations that were feeling really uncomfortable in my body. But more than that, I actually allowed myself to just open my focus to be on the spaciousness, the internal spaciousness. So imagining that everything was just empty, not empty as in devoid of life, but completely open, empty space inside, and just focusing on that sense of a deeper, broader mind. And that background feeling just created almost like the embrace and the space where that feeling of fear that was from my past, I'm pretty sure that was connected to surgeries, the experience that I've had in the past, that fear could then just flow through my system and be integrated. And that fear was always there. From the point that it got locked in my tissues, it stayed there. It stayed consistently affecting my energy, my tissues, but I just pushed down on it. So almost putting a nice little wrapper on top of it so I wouldn't feel it. Because I had been integrating so much, it just found, apparently I released the layers and it just found its way to the surface again. And I was able, with these tools, aware of the stillness, the silence, the spaciousness, to just be present and not pushing against it, just being that broader mind context awareness, allowing just the energy to flow through me and be integrated. And I'm healthier, more whole for that. Something that I learned from Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche is that for the feeling of spaciousness, he usually guides people to just be aware of the internal spaciousness or the space in your heart chakra and around your heart chakra in your chest. This might be something that's easier for you if you want to just try it, just being aware of the internal space and the spaciousness around your heart chakra, around your chest. It starts to give us a feeling of that peacefulness, that presence, of that spaciousness, and of a sense of warmth and love as well, which is lovely for us to focus on. And whenever we move through whatever we were feeling, we let it just flow, allow it to just continue on its way, and then it's integrated. We're then left with almost like an opening for space. Something that he recommends as well, Tenzin Rinpoche, is to just continue with our focus on the stillness, on the silence, on the spaciousness, because it's from that focus and that awareness of us being in our broader mind that then the positive qualities, ideas, solutions, states of being start coming from. And in my experience, this is the case. So instead of us okay, I'm feeling better, let me now go do something else. If we can just give ourselves the gift of just, okay, I'm now feeling a lot better, this works. Let me stay here for a little bit longer in this state of being to see what else comes up. Something else might actually come up on its way, seeing that, oh, okay, now the door is open, good, now we can heal. And starts coming up something else to actually be allowed and integrated. Or you might just feel, this is a beautiful open space now that I have inside of me. Staying there for a little bit longer just allows the positive qualities to start emerging and nourishing us, nourishing our body, nourishing our mind, nourishing our soul. And yeah, that just gives us a sense of true empowerment, and that we do have the navigation tools and we are the captains of our ship, so to speak. We can navigate through life. In whatever currents we find ourselves, we have mastery over our navigation, the ship device and the tools that we have internally. And we're always assisted by our broader, deeper mind, self, or higher dimensions of self, always here with us centered. So that helps us feel that security, that connection with life that we didn't have the tools or the mature enough nervous system when we are young to actually feel. I did want to share a couple of things with you in case we cross to a point where there's already way too much arousal on our nervous system that we can't really even focus on anything. Breath and physical touch are always soothing mechanisms that we can use anytime, anywhere, when things have already gone to the red. And it can be really hard to just even remember to focus on stillness or silence or spaciousness. Breathing out longer, in a longer period, by longer counts than breathing in will always help. So exhaling for a longer period than inhaling. So imagine you start inhaling short breaths, because when we're stressed, it's usually shallow breathing and fast breathing. You inhale, let's say for a count of 2, and you deliberately start prolonging the exhale to 4, to 6, to 8, whatever you can just extend. Usually what helps us with this is doing a sort of straw breathing. So you just inhale normally, and as you exhale, you just purse your lips. Imagine that you're blowing through a straw, and you start exhaling like that. Because this will help the exhale be a lot longer. And when we have longer exhales than inhales, this tells our nervous system, oh, okay, we're safe then. There's no reason for panic. It's a biofeedback mechanism. As we start breathing faster and shallower when we are stressed, when the opposite also happens. So when we are breathing slower in and out, especially when the exhale is longer than the inhale, and we start breathing deeper, our nervous system just goes, okay, safe, we're safe then. This must mean we're safe. So it starts calming down. Another self-soothing tool that's really important, especially for these times where we are isolated or being invited to be isolated, is touch, and a really easy soothing type of touch. Honestly, don't know why this works, but this is part of the embodiment practices, is to actually move and touch our arms from the shoulder all the way to the wrist. If you do this for even 30 seconds, just a loving touch, this will start soothing you. Both arms, or if you want, even something that is not maybe as conspicuous as this one, because this one will probably be a little attention grabbing if you're doing it in public, although breathing you can do anywhere, is a firmer touch. And it can be here, it can be around your navel, wherever, or even just one arm. If you place a firmer touch, so you're not grabbing, but a firmer touch in your body, it gives us a sense of safety. So it starts calming your nervous system down again. And when you are at a place where you're feeling calmer, these soothing techniques also work. Then you can start working on actually integrating whatever was coming up. And that's when, for me, there are many, of course, many ways of doing this, but for me, these non-techniques of just shifting awareness to the stillness of the body, the silence of the speech, and the spaciousness of our broader mind, internal and external, are just the perfect context for us to just allow everything to dissolve. It's almost like there's a little bit of ice, frozen light that got condensed and it's trying to find its way up, and we're just tuning into that broader radiance, light or no light, but still radiance, full life power that will just help it all dissolve and come back into just a pure and really high state of coherence and frequency. So everything starts melting and just coming back to its original state of just pure life force, and whatever the emotion was that was underneath it dissolves into just pure life force and becomes integrated in our own life force again, because that's its natural place. So that's what I wanted to share today. This is something that is an internal shift in our awareness, so we can navigate life. And the more that I do this, the more that I find a sense of confidence, a sense of ease, a sense of, it's not even power, I can call it power, but it really is more of it is empowerment, of course, but it is more than anything just a sense of, I can do this, I can navigate this. It's mastery. Okay, that's probably a better word. It's a sense of internal mastery that we can do this. We can navigate life. The feelings of powerlessness, the feelings of unsafety that we had in the past that were associated with everything that was going on around us, and our feeling of not being able to control it, so we didn't feel safe. That will always be the case. We cannot control the outside circumstances, but if we do trust ourselves fully, because we know we have the tools to navigate things, and not even navigate things, we are always present, we're always supported, we are always guided, we always have the navigation tools for anything and everything that comes up in our environment and everything that triggers inside of us. When we have that sense of trust in ourselves, that's safety for me. It's not safety in terms of everything will always be the way that I truly want it outside, or people will always behave in the way that I truly want them to in the outside. That will always keep me an OCD, or any one of us, because we can't really control those things. But it's, I trust myself fully. I have the mastery, the internal tools, I have the awareness to be able to just navigate everything and feel safe throughout my navigation, because it becomes something that it's not even a feeling safe. It's all good. It's all good. It's just experience. It's just navigating everything and anything from that place of awareness and of confidence and of internal mastery. So I hope this made sense. Do let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. Share, like the video, do what you feel inspired. If you have any questions, do let me know as well. And thank you, Danny. Thank you, David, for joining me live. Thank you as well for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.